Hey guys, Lizardlea here for Christmas Minis. We wish you a Merry Christmas. So that's what's going to look like because the one on the cover, where was it, is just this. So yet another that they don't show the finished piece on because they don't know how much I really like to see the final product. Okay, I'm going to go cross stitch now. Alrighty, I think this will most likely be the last one I do in real time, at least for quite some time, because all of the ornaments I did after this were significantly more detailed, I guess. So it took me a couple hours, and talking for 2 hours, like, I can't do that, you guys. I can't. No one wants to listen to me talk for that long. Okay, so David and I finished up with number 126, so now I'm on 127. What do you do when no one is around? The things we do in secret are definitely a thing to be talked about. Are they? Because, like, doesn't it imply that's a secret and that's something you don't want to talk about? Whatever. I read when no one else is around. So listening to audiobooks, I can cross stitch and there can be other people in the room and it's fine. But if I'm reading a book and there's someone else in the room, unless they are like also reading, I can't. It's just very distracting for me. Like I know there were a couple times I tried to read Good Omens in the living room and David would be on his computer over here and it was so distracting to me, hearing the keyboard clacking and his screen changing brightness. I couldn't do it. So when I read, I have to be in a room alone or just with other people that are also reading. Like in a library, for instance. I can read in a library because everybody's being quiet because they're also reading. That's fine. But if there's anything else going on, it's too distracting for me and I have a hard time just concentrating. I don't know, maybe that sounds silly. Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing is reading. What else do I do when no one else is around? Because, like, I assume this is something, like, on average that you do alone. Like, on average, David is out here when I'm cross-stitching and listening to an audiobook. So, or is this something, like, you can only do when no one else is around? I don't know. Whatever. I answered the question to the best of my ability. 128. Do you sometimes talk to yourself? The best conversations are those that we have with ourselves. I mean, I completely disagree. I don't think my best conversations are with myself. But yes, I talk to myself a lot. I especially talk to myself when it comes to work. I mean like talking aloud. I can get myself through a problem much easier when I'm allowed to just speak about it, which is one of the reasons why I really enjoy working from home, because if I run into a roadblock, I don't immediately like shut down. I just start talking about it. Like, okay, Liz, I know I've done a prepaid expense before. Oh, okay, I'll look up previous prepaid expenses I've entered. I'll go to the chart of accounts, I'll pull it prepaid, and I'll look at those. Versus if I'm just in my head and I'm like at the office and because I am not comfortable talking aloud, especially about work at the office. You never know who's going to be walking by and overhear me, and accounting is generally supposed to be top secret is not the correct term. Confidential, there we go. So I simply can't talk about it. Like there's an expectation that I keep it to myself. So it's a lot more difficult for me to work through a problem when I can't talk. I will say, at least in high school, college, when I was younger, I tested very well. So if I'm taking a test and I get to study for it and I can prepare for it, I'll be fine. And I can work my way through all the problems without having to speak aloud. Like, I didn't get in trouble during a test because I was sitting there like, what is the Pythagorean theorem? Like, because I studied, so I was prepared. Versus when I'm just working, sometimes it's like I do the books in several different companies and they're kind of different. So it's like, oh wait, did I do this for this or did I do this? And it can get a little confusing and it gets, muddled in my mind. So for me, being able to talk aloud, it makes things a lot clearer for me. It makes them a lot more understandable and just easier for me to work my way through the issue. And it just, and if I need to get from point A to point D, when I just am in the office, I'll just go like A to D, and sometimes I'll include Q and R, and that's wrong. When I'm at home and I can work through it, I go from A to B to C to D. Just because working aloud, speaking aloud the issue that I've run into, it helps me immensely. I know that is not true of everyone, but I have met other people that they're the same way, where it's like, yeah, I need to be able to talk aloud because same issues as me. 129. What's the scariest dream you've ever had? Ooh. Alright, so I had one immediately pop up into my mind because to this day, I still have like reactions to it, So I will start by saying, prior to this dream, if it gives you any indication of what this dream is going to be like and if you want to hear it or not, I have issues with people touching my ears. Like, I'm okay with touching my earrings because they're on the lobe of my ear and the cartilage all the way up at the top. But when you start getting closer to my inner ear, like, I can't. What is this guy called? So the flap on your ear that covers up your ear hole, I'm not comfortable with people touching that either. And that's not even the inside of my ear. Okay, so like just that bothers me and it freaks me out. David sometimes will roll over and he'll, want to put his arm around me, and we'll have moved so much that he reaches out and he touches my ear, and it wakes me up instantaneously because it freaks me out so much. He feels bad, so like, don't be mean. But I just like, yeah, I have issues with things touching my ears. All right, so here we go. In this dream, when did I have this dream? I want to say it was like middle school. I was fairly young when I had it. In this dream, I was with my immediate family, so my parents and my siblings, and we were going, I guess, scuba diving. We had on, like wetsuits, and it covered from, okay, it's easier to say what it did not cover. It didn't cover our feet, our hands, or the neck up. So, like, there was nothing on my hands. I want to say we each had on flippers on our feet. I could be wrong, but I want to say we did. And we had on something that, like, covered our faces so that we could breathe underwater and, see clearly without getting water in our eyes. But there was nothing covering our ears. Oh, God, just remembering this dream. So we're going through, like, this cave system, just an underwater cave system. And I don't have claustrophobia, but I don't see myself being a cave diver. Like, that just, the idea of getting stuck and caught and then just, like, starving there, that does super frighten me. So maybe I have mild claustrophobia, I don't know. But we were just going through and it was fine for the most part. Like, it was uncomfortable, but I was doing okay. And then suddenly, like, eels and other kinds of bugs started crawling along the walls. And so the people that were, like, guiding us, I guess, told us to don't touch the walls. They don't reach out from the walls, so as long as you stay in the middle, equidistant from each of the sides of the wall, They won't touch you and you'll be fine. But don't touch the wall. And they said it would be easiest if we all just, follow in single file, follow the person ahead of us, and don't get sidetracked, and it'll be fine. And my little brother decided to go down a different route. And I don't think I was the caboose of the group, but maybe of my family I was. And my brother was immediately in front of me. Because when he veered off, I was like, Chris, what are you doing? No, come back. But the way, with our ears being underwater, we couldn't hear anything other than just, which meant nothing. So I started swimming after him, and then it was getting smaller and smaller. And at this point, at the age that we were, he was like half my size. So he was doing fine, and I was like, okay, I'm getting closer to the sides of the wall. I don't like this. And eventually I grabbed his ankle and I pulled him back. And I pointed backwards and I told him he had to go back to the rest of the group immediately or I was going to whoop his ass. And so, he was upset, but he started going back. And I turned around and I ended up putting my hand on the wall. And then the next thing I know, there were bugs crawling in my ears and up my arm. And it just, it was so bad. I mean, I was freaking out in this dream for what felt like eternity, but I'm sure it wasn't even a full minute. Because I ended up waking up and I just, I was messing with my ears for the next, I don't think I went back to sleep after that dream that night. Because I felt like things were crawling in my ears and it was... I'm literally getting the goosebumps, you guys, just talking about this dream. And this is a dream I had years ago, and I still remember it very clearly, and I did not like it. It was very uncomfortable. And I will say, mostly due to that dream, a lot of times when I'm falling asleep, if I just become aware of the fact that there's nothing covering my ears, if I don't have my arm over my head, I pull my bangs to cover my ear just because it gives me a semblance of feeling like my ears are covered so that something can't crawl into them. Ugh. I know it probably sounds silly, but yeah, if you ever meet me in person, don't touch my ears because I will karate chop you or I will just break down and start crying. I don't know. But honestly, neither outcome is ideal. So let's just not do that. But yeah, that was it was so scary to me because I remember it was probably just like an old wives' tale because I haven't heard anything more about it. But earwigs. Those little bugs with the Spencer for a tail or whatever. I was always told if those crawl into your ear, they'll make you go crazy because your ears will be, the inside of your ears will be itchy and you won't be able to get to them. And you guys, every time to this day, if I see an earwig, I kill it immediately. I'm like, I got a tissue. I do not give them any chances. Just no, absolutely not. And I swear, in middle school, a friend and I were researching it, and we found out that, yeah, they're called earwigs, but they don't crawl into your ear or something. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I kind of want to stick with that feeling that I have now, because I feel slightly better about it. One less bug that I will imagine crawling into my ear constantly. But, yeah, I have issues with people touching my ears, and I mean, part of it might just be that I have such bad hearing that having something covering my ears makes it that much more difficult for me to hear. But I think most of it is just I have a fear of things crawling into my ears. It makes me uncomfortable. So, yeah, no. And then the next scariest dream that I can think of that now I look back and I think it's kind of funny. So, it is older than the previous dream. So, gosh, I don't know if it was before or after I saw this movie. It was oh, what is it called? Maximum Overdrive. It's the only movie Stephen King has filmed of his own books, at least as far as I know. Or it was his. Who was the director on it? I think. I think that's what it was. I don't know. It has an AC/DC soundtrack, and I love the movie. It stars Emilio Estevez, and I have always adored that man. He is gorgeous, and he is a wonderful actor. So, yes. But if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. It is horror, quote unquote. I think most people kind of tend to laugh at it more than be scared by it, but, you know, just in case, if you don't like horror, don't bother. A comet passes by the Earth, or like it's passing by Earth, I guess, and all of the electronics in the world come to life. And they start attacking people. So really early on, one of the first things you see is a vending machine. Actually, I think one of the first things you see is actually an ATM, and it's actually Stephen King is in front of the ATM, and he's trying to withdraw money or whatever, and it pops up and it says like, you are an a-hole, and he turns and he's like, honey, I think this ATM just called me an a-hole. I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. But then, yeah, so then it also goes to boys playing baseball, and the coach goes over to the vending machine, and he's like getting sodas or something, and the machine just literally starts spitting out soda cans. One hits him in the crotch, which, puts him down for the count, and then another hits him in the eye or the face. Like, it kills him, like, definitively. I don't remember if it really showed the aftermath of that or not, but he's dead. And then it starts shooting out more, and I think some of the boys on the baseball team get hurt. What's the term? A bulldozer? No, it's not a bulldozer. It's not a rolling pin. What the heck is it? It's the same machine that crushed that guy in Austin Powers, where Austin Powers is driving the vehicle, and it just rolls right over the dude as he stands there screaming for like 5 minutes, and the thing moves really slow. What is it called? Oh, I have to look it up because I don't... My mind is completely blanking. Okay, so if I do Austin Powers truck driver scene, is that it? I don't think that's it. Oh, this says it's truckers. Oh, the parking scene, that was funny. Oh, steamroller. There we go, steamroller. So, a kid, or at least his bike. I'm pretty sure it's a kid, though. The bike goes under the steamroller, and then I'm pretty sure, I want to say a kid goes under the steamroller. And, like, it's a graphic movie, but I'm pretty sure it's, like, from the 80s, so it's not, like, the worst thing you've ever seen, but it's bad. I don't know. If this doesn't sound appealing, please don't watch it. I don't want to scare anybody or make anybody uncomfortable. But anyways, I don't know if this dream was before or after I saw that movie, but I will say, to this day, when someone starts their truck with their keys and they're, like 20, 30 feet away, it still makes me nervous, and I'm just like, maximum overdrive, are we all about to die? Because this truck is going to run us over. So, in this dream, I am, like, taking care of my brother. I don't know if I'm babysitting him or what, but, like, I am in charge, and things start going crazy. I don't know if it's necessarily that the world is ending or just something. Like, something is going on, and it's not good. And we all know we got to get the heck out of here. And so, like I said, since this dream was before the other one, my brother was really small at the time. Like, I could carry him Not for extended distances, but for the most part I could carry him, like at least with piggyback rides or whatever. So we got outside, we got out of our house, and the trash cans were coming to life. Like all kinds of trash cans. Dumpsters, just a recycling bin, all of it. And they were just moving around and eating people. So it wasn't electronics. It was specifically just trash cans and dumpsters. And my brother was really scared, but like I was even more frightened than he was. So I don't know if that's because, I had a better understanding of it, or if it was because it was my nightmare and, yeah. But a dumpster, like a big dumpster, started following Chris and I. And I mean, like, I was holding his hand and we were running, and then eventually I realized, like, it's catching up to us, and if it catches us, we're gonna die, and we can't. Like, we need to get out of here. So I picked him up, and I want to say I had him in front of me, which was probably not ideal, because that means he was looking behind us at the dumpster, catching up to us. But I picked him up, and I started running as fast as I could. And eventually there was kind of this, not necessarily wall, but it looked like an electric field or something. And people were just running past it. So I ran past it too. I ran right through it. And the trash cans and the dumpsters, they weren't going past that point. So we were all just like, oh, we're safe. Oh, Devoted's calling. I'm gonna get that. So yeah, that was basically the end of the dream. We got past that point where they were no longer working, I guess, quote unquote, and we were safe. It was so scary though. Like I ran from our house to some point I didn't even know where we were. I ran and I ran and I ran, and the whole time this freaking dumpster was running after us, and it was just very frightening. So like I look back now and I think it's funny because it's like, oh no, the metal dumpster came to life. Whoa. But like that's like really? And then the plastic trash cans are also alive. Like it was so silly. But that underwater cave dream, that's still, the thought of that dream still creeps me out. So, yeah. Let's see, what does this say? You can both proceed to interpret the dream. Maybe it means something. Well, I guess, the underwater one is probably a fear of, or like probably claustrophobia. Things crawling into my ears. I guess it could even be potentially like a fear of not necessarily swimming, but like being underwater. I don't think there was ever any point where I or anyone else was worried we were going to drown, but I feel like it probably was significant that we were underwater. I don't know. 130. What's the most ticklish spot on your body? Everywhere. I am like super ticklish. My armpits, my tummy, my neck, like I am really ticklish. You can ask David, he'll tell you. He probably finds it very annoying, and I can't control it, so my bad. 131. What's the first movie that made you cry? Oh, wow. I mean, the first movie that I can remember making me cry, like, just full-on sobbing, like, to the point that I got a headache, I was crying so hard, was I Am Sam. It starred, oh crap, I'm blanking on his name. No, not Sean Penn. Or was it Sean Penn? Oh, now I have to... It had Michelle Pfeiffer in it, I will say that. I Am Sam. Oh, it was Sean Penn. Okay, I'm not crazy. So I'm gonna read the synopsis for you guys just so you have an idea. I Am Sam is the compelling story of Sam Dawson, played by Sean Penn, a mentally challenged father raising his daughter Lucy, played by Dakota Fanning, with the help of a unique group of friends. They're all kind of mentally challenged in some ways. As Lucy turns 7 and begins to intellectually surpass her father, their close bond is threatened when their unconventional living arrangement comes to the attention of a social worker who wants Lucy placed in foster care. So, this movie, I will say, for anybody, like, if it sounds interesting to you but you don't like happy endings, it does have a happy ending. Straight up, I'll try and save the spoilers for after, actually, because I'm not bad. But, yeah, like, oh, God. So, you learn in the movie that Sean Penn's character, sorry, I've already forgotten the character's name, he had relations with a woman, you know, and she had a baby. She dumped the baby off with him and just left. He didn't really understand it because he is mentally handicapped. But he has done his best to raise his daughter. And his group of friends have also helped him. And he has a job, I believe, at a coffee shop. I don't think it's Starbucks, but something along those lines, you know? And he's not perfect, but he does a good job. And then, yeah, his daughter hits 7, and she starts just learning more than him. So he's not able to help her with any of her classwork or anything. And it basically comes out that she is intentionally not doing well on tests, or just intentionally not learning more because she does not want to be smarter than her dad. Oh, God, it breaks my heart, you guys. And the social worker, I think the school is the one who says something because, like, her grades start dropping, and they're like, what the heck's going on? And the social worker looks into it and straight up tells him, like, yeah, you know, you can't teach your daughter anymore. Like, she is smarter than you, but she's not trying anymore because she doesn't want to be smarter than you. And it's, oh, it breaks my heart. He, at one point, like, I think it's her birthday, and he only has visitation with the social worker with his daughter, I think. And he's running to get to her in time, because, you know, if he doesn't make it in that certain window, he doesn't get to see her. And he ends up tripping, and he drops the cake. And his daughter, like, comes around the corner, or, you know, hears him and comes running, and they hug, and he apologizes, and he messed up the cake, and she doesn't care. And yeah, basically he finds out that, like, they're gonna take his daughter away from him and put her up for foster care. And the daughter's just like, no, I don't want that. I want to be with my dad. And so he fights even harder because it's like he wants her, but she also wants to be with him. And, you know, he tries to get representation so he can get help. And everybody's just like, yeah, it costs you a lot of money. It's going to cost you this much, blah, 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 blah. And I don't remember how, but, you know, like, at some point Michelle Pfeiffer shows up, and she is a lawyer. And I think he actually pesters her. I think he finds out about her from one of his friends, maybe. And he pesters her, and she's always telling him no, you know, like, it costs money. And at one point, he comes across her when she's with one of her coworkers or something like that. And the coworker's like, oh, you're doing pro bono work? Oh, that's so nice of you. You know, and it's very clear that Sean Penn's character is mentally handicapped. So, you know, they immediately assume it's pro bono because he probably does not make enough money to pay for a lawyer, like, as good as her. I probably don't make enough to pay for a lawyer as good as her. And so she's kind of guilted into it at that point. And so she starts learning more, and she's like, yeah, no, I'm like, you can't take care of her. You're not going to be able to teach her anymore. And so he's like, no, like, I want to. I'm her father. I want to be there with her. I want her to be with me. Or I want her to be with me. I did say that right. But eventually, like, she gets placed with at least a temporary foster family. And he goes and he visits her. And I think at one point she actually runs away from them to go and see her dad. And the parents get really mad at him, if I recall correctly. It's been a long time since I've seen this movie, and I'm telling you guys, I was crying throughout the whole thing, because I was just like, if he doesn't get his daughter in the end, I'm going to kill someone, because this is horrible. And but yeah, I want to say they blamed him, and they were like, you can't come and see her anymore because she can't do this. It's not safe for her to be running out at night. She needs to be with her family, and blah, 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 blah. Eventually, you get to the end of the movie, and I think they have, do they end up doing like half and half for full visitation? Like he can see her whenever, and she can see him whenever? Something like that. Like it ends happy, which of course just made me cry even more. And I rewatched the movie a couple years ago, and I still cried a little bit, but it wasn't as bad. Mostly because I knew how it turned out, so I didn't have as much to worry about. But, oh man, you guys. That movie made me cry so much. Okay, but it says the first movie that made you cry. And that definitely wasn't the first movie that made me cry. That was just the one that made me cry the hardest. First movie that made me cry. See, the issue with this is, like, I'll cry when something sad is happening. I'll cry when something really happy is happening. I'll cry when something is just, it's making me so angry I can't control myself. I cry very easily when it comes to movies. And so trying to think of the first movie that made me cry, I don't know. I feel like freaking the Disney's Robin Hood, where they were foxes. I feel like that one made me cry because I was so worried that Maid Marian wasn't gonna get with Robin, and that's not okay because they were in love. But I don't remember. I don't remember if it made me cry because that was how young I was. I don't know what the first movie to ever make me cry was. That's asking for like such a long time ago. I mean, if you want the most recent movie that made me cry, Soul on Disney Plus made me cry. It was a happy cry, I will say, but it made me cry. I will say, if you guys have Disney Plus, you absolutely need to see that movie. It's so precious. It's wonderful. If you don't have Disney Plus, I don't think you should buy Disney Plus just to see the movie. I don't think it's that good, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I don't know the first one. Sorry, I'm just gonna move on. I got nothing. Okay. Oh. Wait, no. I think that was the end. Oh, it stopped loading. I'm scrolling, but there is nothing. Oh, it reloaded. Okay, cool. We're just gonna... It reloaded way higher. That's wonderful. I'm trying to find anything. I think that's just repeating the questions, which is weird. Let's see, this or that questions. Will this be different ones? Or is this one I've already done? I literally don't know. This or that conversation starters. Okay. Let's give this one a shot. Oops. 1. Bacon or sausage? 110% bacon. I will say, if you had asked me this question like 5-6 years ago, the answer would have been neither. I like bacon when it's only a little crunchy. And my family, or at least every time I had it, it was always really crunchy, and I don't like that. it just tastes like char to me, and I don't like char. So that was a hard no. So I never had bacon. And sausage, I don't really like the taste of. No matter how much you cook it, it's just it's just the taste. But bacon, when you get the texture right, I can really enjoy bacon. Okay, 2. Chinese or Japanese food. I'm going to probably have to go with Japanese food just because I do really like sushi now. But I will say, dim sum, which is Chinese, is freaking delicious. Oh my god. I just realized, like, okay, if I take my my number one favorite for Chinese food, which is dim sum, and my number one favorite for Japanese food, which is sushi. Wow. You know what? I think I'm actually going to have to go with dim sum and pick Chinese. Yeah. I really like dim sum. Like, sushi has less calories, which is better for me right now, but the taste of dim sum is just so amazing. It's hard to say no to that. Yeah. I'll be happy with either. Like, if I could have either for free for the rest of my life, that would be awesome. I would not turn down either. 3. Dogs or cats? I have to go with cats, personally. I like that they always smell good, or at least all the cats I've ever had and been around, because they clean themselves. And wet dog is disgusting. I'm sorry. I have had a dog. I've had a lot of friends with dogs. Wet dog is not a good smell. And unless you wash your dog every single day, it starts to stink. You may not notice it, but it does. And I'm sorry, but it does. Cats are generally quieter. Like, I know Tessa was really loud, but her meow was still very quiet compared to any dog's bark. Unless you have a dog that doesn't bark. Obviously, then that dog is quieter. But I prefer that. A cat's purr is like my favorite sound in the world. So that just automatically wins. I don't think a dog has anything close to that. Like, yeah, no. Personally, I've always been of the opinion that if you get a dog specifically because you want it to protect you if someone breaks in, I think you're a horrible human being. You need to love your pet. That can be a plus, but if that's the only reason you've got your pet, you're wrong, and that's terrible. I am happier in those cases with a cat because they will generally hide under the bed, and that means my cat will not be shot, and I like that. Because if someone broke into my house and shot my dog, I would have to kill them, and I don't want to be put in jail for murder. So, yeah. I will say I do like that dogs come in different shapes and sizes versus cats. Generally, they don't get bigger than like a small dog, or at least a medium-sized dog. And dogs they'll go from itty teeny tiny bitty, even when they're full grown, to bigger than me. And that is a wide range, and that is really cool. If you train them from a young age, you can get your cat to go on walks. Tessa would go on walks with me. So, I think that, and generally that's still probably going to be a plus for the dogs, though, is that you get to go and take them out on walks and take them more places. Cats tend to be a lot more nervous about that. Most dogs, not all, but a lot of dogs enjoy car rides. So if you take them out with you, and you know you need to take them somewhere, not necessarily because they're going to the vet, but just because you're taking them somewhere, it's easier because they're not going to be as worried or as upset. But there are some dogs who do not like car rides. I have met them. Poor babies. I feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like there are more breeds of dogs. I don't know if that's true, so don't quote me on that. But if somebody knows, let me know. I know that dog owners like to talk and discuss what breed dog they have versus cat owners are just like, yeah, my cat is orange. Yeah, my cat is gray and white, you know? Nothing, like, specific. Hello, devoted.
Yes, dear?
Would you like to join me, or are you good?
When am I joining?
Narration for, like, 10 minutes.
If I can make... Okay, yeah, I can do 10 minutes. I got boxes.
Yes, you did, honey.
Okay, so what's the question?
So the question is, it's a this or that question. You have to make a choice. Dogs or cats?
Cats?
That's what I said, and I was just discussing them. What?
I'm glad we had this talk.
Yeah. I for me personally, cats have more in their favor.
Cats are... I don't know, like, I see the appeal to dogs, obviously.
Oh, yeah, like, dogs are my second favorite animal, after cats.
But, yeah, given a choice, we grew up with cats. I've had dogs too, but I prefer cats. Or at least, obviously personalities, but if I can pick, for personality as well, yeah, cats.
Yep.
Our cat was named Riley, and he was really super sweet.
You're very far away, and so you are very quiet, sir.
He was very super sweet, and it was really nice, and I prefer that kind of, like, cuddly cat thing to a dog.
Cuddly cat thing. Y'all heard it here.
I just got home. You can't give me a hard time. That's cheating.
Yeah, I can. Alright, so number 4 is iOS or Android.
Ha!
I really don't care. I have an iPod. No, I have an iPhone, so I guess that's iOS, right?
Yes.
Yes. So I guess I'm picking that just because that's what I have, but as long as it works, I don't care.
Huh.
Go, David, go. iOS or Android?
God, I'm still not sure.
He hates both of them, basically.
I don't like...
He wants to go back to a flip phone, you guys.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not
no.
lying.
I don't like that iOS locks everything down to the level it does, because when you want to customize certain things, it can be very, very frustrating, and they've lagged behind quite a while on various features that Android has had for quite a while. On the other hand, Android just... one, I hate how the interface is done at times. It's really not very clean. And then two, they have a million little... Like, the phone app is separate from the messaging app, is separate from the photo app, is separate from the album app, which makes sense because, yeah, it's the same way on iOS, but there's little ways that you can interact with the iOS apps, like jumping between one to the other, that you can't do in Android because they are completely separate apps. And further, they're not standardized apps, so it's like, oh yeah, there is no iTunes, just go get a music player. It's like, okay, cool, I actually got a very good one, and I'm going to be sad to move away from it if I go back to Apple, or I'll download it on the iPhone if I'm allowed, which is the problem there. But at the same time, especially for non-techie people, I've watched so many people just walk into walls because Android almost encourages it, and it like tells people who aren't techie, yeah, go to our app store and download things to do what you want. And lo and behold, people don't always have the best judgment there.
Yeah. Number 5, cake or pie? All right, so I think a very important question for this is cheesecake. Is it considered cake or is it considered pie?
It's cake.
I know it says cake in the name.
It's cake.
But if you look at how it's made, it is made like a pie. It has a crust, it goes in the pie pan. It's made like a pie.
It's cake.
Okay, if cheesecake is considered cake, I'm going cake. Because I don't like other pies. I can't think of a single pie that I like.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't like that apple pie.
I don't like pie.
Because you're just a heretic.
No, it's
Have
not.
you had a strawberry pie?
I don't really like strawberries. Why would I like a strawberry pie?
Because you like things that taste like strawberries.
Yeah, but if it has a real strawberry in it, then it tastes like real strawberries.
How about rhubarb?
I don't like the taste of real strawberries. I like the taste of strawberry flavored things. And they never taste exactly like strawberries. And I don't know what rhubarb tastes like, so I don't know. But, like, I've tried a lot of pies. I don't like the crust. So, like, okay, I love cheesecake. The crust is my least favorite part. Like, if it was considered polite to literally just eat the cakey part of the cheesecake and not the crust, I would. I don't like the crusty part. And that's the main thing with pie. And with pie, it also has it over the top, which just adds even more of that. And I don't like it.
I see.
So what do you prefer, cake or pie?
It's kind of a toss-up.
You can't do that.
Yes, I'm trying to think it through out loud, though, if I'm allowed to, ma'am.
You may. You have, like, 3 minutes. No, maybe 5 minutes. Excuse me. 5 minutes.
You've had some of the fancy cakes that I like that I get on my birthday, usually, that are, like, really fruity and weird looking.
Do you mean the one your dad brought when we got dim sum for your birthday?
Actually, I think that... Yeah, that might have been...
Yeah, that one was good.
Yeah, and I really do like those, but at the same time, I really do love me some pie.
Okay,
if I had to pick one that I could never have again, I think I would choose to be able to eat pie and not cake in that case. Because I don't like the majority of cakes. I think most cakes are meh. It's only the fancy ones, because I'm a difficult jerk, that I really like.
Jerk is not the word he wanted to say, you
Well,
guys.
there's a couple of others, but this is a nice, wholesome stream where we talk about horror movies and terrible anime.
I was talking about my worst nightmare earlier, so yes.
Okay. But yeah, pies are generally a go-to for me. I like the Costco apple pie is what I had her try, and she apparently didn't care for because she's a freaking communist ninja mutant nightmare spy person.
What?
Yeah, you heard me. So...
I heard you, but did I understand you?
You should have.
I don't think I did.
She's playing dumb. This is what they do.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, because Costco pies are really good, and then, like, really well-done pies. I don't actually like Marie Callender's. It's okay, but I think it's overrated. But a really well-made pie is, I think, delicious. It also helps that I really like fruit, and fruit is much more standard in pie than it is in cake.
I really like the Cheesecake Factory. Their cheesecakes are... And if they're cake, then I'm golden. Alrighty, 6. Train or plane? It depends on where I am. If I'm in Japan, I'm going to pick the bullet train every single time because that thing is so smooth and it's so awesome. Doesn't give me motion sickness. Doesn't cost as much as a plane. It's just so smooth. But if I'm in the US, I'm picking plane every time because we don't really have a train system.
Yeah, I think my answer winds up the same, because it would be really, really nice if we could get a train system in the U.S. that was anywhere near any other countries.
Honestly.
But unfortunately, it's not a problem of mechanics, it's a problem of politics, because it's a money thing. Like, how do you get the land? You know, it's not like it's just empty. Well, I think there's ways to do it, but we don't have time to discuss that. Nobody cares. So, short version... yeah, I think it definitely, I'd prefer that we had a train system, but since we don't, it's probably plane.
Yep.
Which, you know, I don't fit in. That's another problem.
Yeah, that's true. He is very tall, so plane rides are not fun for him. I am very short, so they're pretty fine for me. 7, coffee or tea? If I'm being forced to drink one, I'm going to pick tea. But if I don't have to, I'm not going to drink either one. Because I'm just not a fan.
I used to drink a lot of coffee at work, but I would actually normally go for tea if given a choice. Even though there's a lot of tea I don't like, there's a lot of tea that I think is really tasty.
We got you some raspberry flavored ones you liked.
My coffee, my first step is adding hot chocolate to it so it tastes better. I'll drink it just straight, but I've rarely had coffee that's so good that I'm like, ooh, I want more of that as is.
I love hot chocolate, however. That is my go-to warm drink. Yes. 8, beer or wine? Again, if I'm being forced, I guess I'm going to pick wine. But if I don't have to, I'm not going to pick either.
I think a lot of... Well, I guess... I don't know. I guess the Seagrams are wine coolers, so yeah, alright. Can I pick cider?
I don't know.
Nah, that's probably cheating. Probably wine. There's some good... again, a majority of beers I don't like, but there's a lot of beers I found that I really love. But if I had to just pick blindly and hope, wine.
I don't do either. But, you know, it is what it is. We're coming up on the end, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this time of me cross-stitching in real time. Because soon we're probably going to go back to doing it really, really fast. And that is the end of Christmas Minis. We wish you a Merry Christmas. I'm going to have to shorten that for the title. I don't know what it's going to be, but whatever. I got 48 minutes of footage. So still not the fastest one, but the second fastest. And I love the colors of this one. Blue and gold were my high school colors. And then, of course, blue is still my favorite color, so
Cross-stitch
I love it.
speedrun when?
No. Because you're more prone to make mistakes if you work too quickly. And then that's just sad.
Okay.
I'm going to get some food because I'm very hungry. So, like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that jazz. And I'll see you guys in the next video.